you've built up a business from scratch of something that no one could compare it to anything else. It's like when Uber first came out, there was nothing to compare it to. So it's like people still don't believe that the product does what it does, because it's like you're educating over and over and over again someone that doesn't, they see it like clay, or they see it like, you know, Sculpey or something, and they're not getting what it actually does. So it's about that education. So we've worked hard to get to that point. And I think now we're starting to see people like yourself, you know, just going, yeah, this is actually saving me lots of time.
I break it down. I was explaining it to somebody just a couple days ago, and they were asking what it is and what it's like to work with. And I went, if you think of it like 1/3 cement, 1/3 fiberglass, and 1/3 sculpting clay, and you put the best of all of those things together, and you have the product. And when you're done, you hit it with a torch, and it takes all the fibers of the fiberglass out, so you have this really great surface.
And you know, there's no fiberglass in our product. That's not fiberglass.
Right, but it just but it works fibrous.
Like it. So everyone thinks it's and
it and then but you've got that structural integrity of a cement, and this ability to sculpt like a traditional clay or a Sculpey, you know, a polymer. And it really is like a fantastic world, and I've worked with all of those elements many times, and so it felt really familiar to my fingers, which was nice to get right in there. And I mean, it's as easy. My children worked it with me as well, so it's like anyone can cook. You know? Anyone can Pal Tiya.
Anyone can Pal Tiya. There it goes again. You can Pal Tiya. You can Pal Tiya.
You can Pal Tiya. You can Pal Tiya. You get a bag. You get a bag. You get a bag.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to do that one day when we're, as it said in the same sentence, as like, oh, you can use, you know, you can wood carve, you can stone, you could Pal Tiya. You know, one day when we're there, I'll be like, everyone gets a bag. I'll go on over and tell everyone. You know.
Oh, we're there. We're gonna get there.
That would be that. That is our dream. That like just everyone can just have that ability to sculpt, and that was why we brought it to market. Because we were like, it's not about, for us, it's not like, yes, we all want to make a living from it, of course we do, but it's the dream of like seeing, when I get emails from people where they're like, I literally have started sculpting again just because I found your product, or you know, I'm making things that I never thought I could make because I don't have a giant kiln to do a 6-foot dragon in, but now I can do it in my living room. And it's like, wow, to me that's like, I get those emails and I just feel this like soaring, blooming in my chest. Like I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. That makes me so happy, you know.
So our shop in Frankenmuth is a blacksmith shop, but and this is one of those ideas I haven't told my wife yet, but I know she'll say yes to. So we're launching the idea right now while we're live. What I want to do probably this spring is do a garden gnome sculpture class with Pal Tiya, where we just bring it up, you know, we sell a bunch of tickets and people come and they can make it in a day, and David and I will probably lead the class, and and maybe even Chloe, his fiance. Do you know?
Yes, so, I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you seen her work yet?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh my God.
It's just mind blowing. I was like, so the first time I heard about Coal Ironworks was when a friend of ours, Chris Menges, was on the podcast. And he was talking about it towards the end, and then I reached out to David and said, would you like me to send you a bag to try? And he was like, oh yeah, I know just the person to give it to. And so that's how that came about.
Well, he immediately called me after that, and he said, you need to try this product. It's high temp resistant at the very least. And I was like, okay, I looked it up and I was like, it's New Zealand, and then I saw that there was a US thing, and so I ordered it, and so now that there's no looking back. And he was excited because he hadn't gotten to see them until the last week of September. We both flew to Texas to do the setup and do the final paint job on the dragons and the building and everything. And so the two of us just kind of hit it like mad artists. I think I've probably the rest of my crew that isn't an artist and isn't us, they probably just like the sheer torture that all of them had to go through of just watching two art squirrels just like over here, then over here, then over here. And we had a million projects going on at the same time. We cut this like ornate Viking horse, or well, it was based off of a Viking horse bed frame that David made an illustration and converted it into a fire breathing dragon. And I put a Leonardo da Vinci quote on it. And so I ended up cutting it out and painting it based off of his iPad sketch. And then while I was doing that, he was painting dragons. I usually paint the dragons, but he goes, I have never done one and I'm so interested. And so I think I painted half of them and he painted the other half. And we just kind of like, boom, 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 over here. And then we needed knot work on the buildings and we needed like decorative work. And we had to, like, it was a very fun week. He's just a great person to work with. And if you, you or as a company ever get a chance to work with him or do a thing, that'd be cool.
Yeah. And, I think the known class is a great idea. I hope that came from the shower. Too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the shower one. Actually, it came from the other day when David sent me a bunch of stuff and I was like, we have to do this. And I didn't allow myself to fully think about that until in this interview. And I was like, no, we have to do that. And if I could schedule an event with him, then I'll probably order, I probably just need the sample bag size right for one gnome.
It depends on how big you make it. If you were just making a small little gnome,
yeah, I just want to probably
one. Yeah, you could probably get away with
per person, because what I think I'd probably do.
If you're doing it in a day and it's small enough, you won't even need the scratch coat. You just would put on one layer and then it'll be done.
Yeah, what I'd probably do is get some foam and a lot of aluminum foil, and then people can make their rough bases, and then it would just be a class of sculpting the details on top of that quickly.
We do as much detail in the foil as we can so that we use less product. Like that's what we're trying to.
I saw that.
Yeah, we're trying to show people like get as detailed as you can with the foil, and it's a new thing for people sometimes sculpting such big things in foil. But if they get it right,
I didn't like it.
Yeah,
it's hard.
You didn't like
sculpting foil? No, sculpting foil is a pain in the ass.
Is it?
Yeah, I was not my. No, I liked using the product. By the time I tried that for the first dragon, and I was like, I'm gonna get thin. I'm gonna follow the directions. They did the thing, and then by the time the third one, like some of the horns, it's like half inch to almost an inch thick in places, and I've got these like cool gnarly things, and I'm like, I just need to work fast, and I was really running out of time, so I was just like pumping these things out, and just I sculpted them all one day. They were one day sculpts. If I could, well, I guess. Two of them, because of the way that I was building the horns up, I did have to do 2 days of the side horns because it just when you're sculpting the underside of gravity, and it
would just fall off.
Yeah, so what I'd have to do is I would do the top on day one. When that cured, I could flip the head, and then I could do the underside, or I could like do a light base that was really smushed into some rough aluminum foil.
Yeah.
And that would stick enough that on day two, it would adhere to the texture and it wouldn't be falling off like the first time.
That's what Kim usually does. She'll put a scratch coat over the whole entire thing, cure it, and then the next day you can flip it, and then she'll just do sections at a time. And that's the beauty of the product, is that you can come back, like you could come back a year later, and as long as you've got a scratch coat on there, just mist it with a little bit of water, shove it on, and it'll just stick right onto that scratch coat.
And if you've got an area that you don't like, and so it's no longer a scratch coat, I just took a Dremel wheel and I recut a scratch coat back into a section. I had a section of like horn cheek connection that I didn't like, so I just gouged it out and then smushed it back in, and you wouldn't know any different.
Yeah,
it was cool. I love it, so by the way.
That's good. I think I can tell. I like that. No, it's lovely. It's lovely to hear that, because it's music to our ears when people get it and they understand, like, because someone said to me the other day, they were like, you literally couldn't make a sculpture for as cheap as you could make it in this stuff if you were having to like put it in a foundry if you were having
Nope.
to, you just couldn't. So, and I know some people like to make the same sculpture over and over and over again. There is actually a way you can do that with the tinfoil, like making the base and then just changing the layer of tinfoil, and when things just pop it off, and you could make multiples of the same thing if you really wanted to. But ours is like permanent, unique outdoor art. You can't do it for any cheaper. Like that is our statement, because it's true. You couldn't.
Yeah, you've said a couple times that you've had people who are balking at the price of a bag or whatever. I don't remember it. I mean, look, it's not as cheap as a bag of cement. No. But I mean, if you were going to buy any sculpting medium in that volume, that is going to be an incredibly expensive thing. And then you can't bake it when it's, I don't have an oven that I can put the dragon heads that I make aren't that big, but they won't fit in any kiln that I have. No. So, and I couldn't put them in a kiln because I guess it's a forge. I could put it in the kiln. No, because the brass and they come piped with this. No, I couldn't do it. There's just nothing else.
And
it's just not a product I could use.
Yeah. And as well, it's funny because Kim always says to me, like I remember her saying to me that sculpting at school, she said, is probably the killer of most people's art careers, because they make this beautiful thing with clay, they put it in the kiln, and then it blows up. And suddenly all that work that they've put into something, they're like, oh, I'm not going to do that again, and she said sometimes that kills someone's love for art dead. Like it's just like, I'm not into sculpture because that's really difficult. Whereas now she said they can do that and they don't have to fire it, so there's no chance it's going to do that, and they can leave it for as long as they want, so they don't have to. You can be working on 10 things at once if you want. It's not hard.
And that is one of the great things about Pal Tiya and the way that you're presenting it is not a pretentious art material. There's no preconceived thing of like, even when you get into clays and pottery, and there is a whole bunch of that with that too, in the way that you use it and all that. And I think that world has always stayed a little like, I'm like, because people are picky about their pottery and their ceramics and the way they do things and their things. But this product, to me, it's like just anyone can use it, and you can get incredibly professional and strong results. You can paint it, you can finish it, you can light it on fire for hundreds of hours and it will survive. So I think that I'm excited that you all will continue to boom quite a bit, and you're going to have just a ton of artisans that are going to be using your product. And you probably get people who aren't artisans. Where I can see this being useful a lot is those people that do those fake stone buildings and walls and stuff as well, because honestly, I think that the structural integrity will far outdo what people can do with their cement art. So I don't know, I just look forward to seeing what people create with it.
I love that you can cut it and make she makes like little clothes and things, because you can cut it. And when we first showed someone in class cutting it, they were like, how did you, what? It can cut? And we're like, yeah, you can like cut it and make like little jackets and things. And, you just have to use like, we've got lots of like little tinfoil supports that you can put up to kind of hold it while it's curing. But then, you just take it away and it's going to be solid.
I didn't have the nerve to try that yet, but I'll get there.
You should, try it.
Yeah.
Tell me how you go. Make a little jacket for something, or